What's going on, friends? James Nguyen here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. We got another special coming to you. I don't know if you remember, but I used to do this thing called Can You Draw? And then I would take commissions of independent comic creators, creations, and or commissions from whomever. But we had a Can You Draw segment. But it's been a long time since we had it. But we have a return to the Can You Draw. It's the person who commissioned the Can You Draw Iron Knight, and Shay is back for his character named Mars. And let me hit some buttons here. Hit some buttons. Get some music going, so you're not listening to me drone on with listen to us drone on, because I am going to welcome him to the stage. But I've got the reminder for you, the reminder of what it looked like last time. This is his character Iron Knight. He did get it colored up. He has shown me, and it's a poster. And this was an homage of the Akira poster, if you guys remember. So he's got that up, and it's really cool. And so he asked me to do a Mars, his character named Mars, and he'll tell us all about it when I get him in here. But he gave this image to me as an inspiration. So Action Comics #1 is the inspiration because it is a Superman type character. Has superpowers, has a cape, super strength, and all that. And we'll get into what the superpowers are. But this is what Mars looks like. This is the reference sheet that I'm going to be using. He does use some AI to kind of get the references for the artist to use. So we'll ask him all about that too. He says this took about 30 hours. So is AI a viable option for comic creation? Not yet. Not for a little while. Although one of my Starcross Comics creator friends took one image. It was in pencil. He asked AI to ink it. It inked it like super good. It did mess up the one area where there was a face in the clouds, and it totally ignored the face. And then he asked it to color it and then create a comic book out of it. And so it colored it and created a 4-page comic that was pretty darn good, I gotta say. So without further ado, we're going to invite Mr. Jashae Slaughter, if I can get the buttons to work here, Shay, to the stage. There he is. Jashae Slaughter.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go. We got applause. You wanna bounce too? You wanna bounce in here? Can you hear that? Or no?
Am I in?
Did it bounce?
Yeah, I heard it bounce.
All right. Yeah, all right. So tell us about, you know what? You're going to tell us about the Apocalyptiverse website.
The Apocalyptiverse. Let's talk about it. So,
yeah.
The Apocalyptiverse is an idea that I had based on the story The Last Day that I'm writing. And then on this page here, if you scroll down, you'll also see a series of books by Hannah Rose Williams. And those green ones, she started writing a space opera called Shatter Realm, kind of another time, another place deal. And then after that, directly, she started writing The Thousand Years' War. And what I realized was that we were both writing post-apocalyptic stories in some sort of an undefined future. So I said to her one day, hey, what if we put our universes together and help promote each other's work and work together in that regard, where The Thousand Years' War takes place first. So she's got full reign to do eons of storytelling. And then much later, at the end of time, is where the Last Day universe takes place. So that's why it's called The Last Day.
Okay. So will the characters, will her characters like appear in The Last Day, or will your characters?
No, they're long gone. They are ancestors of my characters.
Okay. How will then?
So you know how like Star Wars like a long time ago, but it's in the future.
Yeah.
This is in the future, and then even further in the future. So kind of like mankind has fallen twice.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And so you have something that you wanted to highlight at the bottom. Is it at the bottom where the cards are?
Okay. Yeah. So this is cool. So because there's all these different stories, I have a lot of different characters to kind of show off. So up in that top corner where it says home, cards, games, you can just click up there. Yeah, it used to be down in the bottom, but it was kind of hard for people to find. So I made this card system. So what you do, and you're doing it in real time, you just go to open pack.
Ooh, nice sound effect.
Yeah, you get like a little card flip sound effect. And then you pick one of the 6 cards. I won't tell you which one. Sweet.
Got a common Mikey.
So this is one of the newer cards. Mikey is a character from the SOS storyline, which is like a smaller microcosm in the Last Day universe. It's not the flagship characters. These are teenagers that are learning to use their powers.
Okay.
And so they have their own story, and he's one of the side characters. The bios aren't connected yet on that.
Okay.
That's the one. But it's not going to let you flip anymore for 24 hours. But if you go to wallet, you'll be able to see that. You should be able to see that card that you just picked. So basically, when you go to the
bio, nothing happens.
No, not right now. That's still in the works.
Okay.
Give me about 2 weeks and I'll have all those links up and working. But there's about 50 something characters in there. So that's a page per character.
Okay. And you invited me to submit Alpha Red to be a part of the card flipping thing, or would that be a different set?
Yeah, it'd be in the same deck here. And because your character has the ability to move around in undefined ways. So if we want to write something down the line, we can totally do that. Sure. But I also want to leave that platform open for other Christian artists that have cool characters. And this is what it is.
That's awesome.
So once you open, you can go to your wallet. It shows you your character there, and then you should be able to click on the character itself. There you go, and it'll show you your collection. So every day you get another flip. You go back, you get a new character. It saves it all in your browser. If you go to key, it'll be a key for your wallet, and you can save it to your computer.
Where's the
you
key?
have to close that viewer out. Yeah, see that key?
Okay.
And that's the whole process where you would sign up for a key. It's scarier than it looks, but that's if you want to save it to your computer. Otherwise, if you clear it, your cards are gone. If you clear your browser, but if you never clear it, then it just stays there forever.
Okay.
So I did that for people that want to save it, but most people just come by, they flip a card, they see what they get, and they learn about that character. It'll have links to the comic book or book that they're in, and
that's cool. No, that's a great idea. No, so you'll have to.
It took me a while to put that together, come up with the idea.
I know you've been working on it. All right, so let's not waste any more time. So we talked about it beforehand. The scene that you were hoping to kind of depict in this commission as a Mars is stopping a truck. And this is set sometime in the 50s ish.
Aesthetically, it's not in like canonically, but I like the aesthetic of the Superman Action Comics. I just wanted to have an old style comic book version or depiction of this scene.
Okay. So
in the story, it's in the future still in the city of Cathedral, but aesthetically, I thought this would just be fun. Yeah.
So about how old does Mars look? As I'm drawing him, I want to make sure that I have the right build for him, so I'm not drawing absolute Batman.
Yeah. So Mars is about mid to early 30s in appearance. He has a slim, athletic build. He's not a very tall man. I would put him in about 5'8". Like he's short because he's older. this is a character that has been alive for a long time. So historically, people in the past are shorter.
Okay. And
Makes
his
sense?
superpowers didn't give him some super height? No
No,
genetic
no.
bonus for for being. I mean, how much do you want to review? I don't want to give it all away.
Oh no. He's one of the flagship characters. So I thought it was a little cliche to make him tall and towering. I do have a story coming out probably next month. We haven't put a deadline on it, but I just finished editing. We're in the formatting process. It's an origin story, and he has brothers in the story, and one of his brothers is huge, 7 foot, guy, like a giant. And then his other brother is pretty big too, but out of all the brothers, he's like the shortest, he's the youngest. So I didn't want to give him a real towering presence.
Okay.
But some of our favorite characters are pretty short. Like Wolverine, I think, is even shorter than Mars.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be, but now that they put him in the movies, I don't know how tall Hugh Jackman is, but
They keep
he doesn't
casting
look
Hugh
like a short
Jackman and
guy.
other people.
I remember.
They should have cast Glenn Danzig. That would've been
Yeah,
great.
I remember those days back in the Wizard casting calls, and they would always use Glenn Danzig as the Wolverine, and everybody. I mean, I've only, I want to say, heard one Danzig song, so I'm not super
Mother?
familiar. But the picture that they always used for him with the mutton chops, and I was like, okay,
I think that's where I got the idea.
yeah. But
So yeah, because Mars is an all-powerful Superman archetype character, to pay homage to the origins of where that character comes from, that's really the main idea here. But interestingly is for this character in particular, he is a pacifist, and he has a very unique pacifist code. So it's not that he's it sounds hard to explain. I have a scene in the book Utopia where he stops a bank robbery, and the deal, he won't kill other humans because of his past, and that I go into detail in the new Harbinger story coming out. But in Utopia, you see him trying to work out his problems without hurting people, because he could absolutely obliterate them if he wanted to. But the challenge in writing a character like that isn't how powerful is he. To me, it's how much restraint can a person with that much power show.
yeah,
Because I think, if you go full Omni-Man, people are just gonna be scared of you all the time.
yeah, that's exactly the difference between Superman and how they write the Homelander in the Boys thing, and people are like, that's more realistic because that's what somebody who has that much power would do. And that's where the importance of him landing in Kansas, Smallville. Is it Smallville? I mean, is it Kansas?
Yeah, Smallville,
is in Kansas. And that's where he is. That's where he learns his morals, and that's why he doesn't just obliterate everyone. So
I'm not a huge fan of how they portrayed the Kents in this last movie, but I like the concept still.
yeah, so like I didn't either. I thought it was like it wasn't. It was very stereotypical or whatever, and just not in a great light, But people,
I mean, like the story, the way that they did the part that they were given, I think they did a good job. They did seem like real good people, people you wouldn't mind being neighbors with.
Sure.
But it was just more that typical of like, this is what Hollywood thinks it's like they've never actually met a person from Kansas, and so this is what they imagine.
Well, I mean, you would know better than me whether or not there are people out there like that. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are that kind of innocent and kind of doe-eyed, like don't know what's going on, kind of whatever. But typically, their kids aren't going to turn out to be Superman. Like super smart, because Superman's supposed to be much smarter
yeah.
than he's a scientist, even. you know.
And that was the challenge that I had. That was a distraction for me in the movie, because the way they made them look, they looked just like, oh, these are just dumb country bumpkins. But then they weren't portrayed that way in the writing.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know. So you don't think so? It was more of a caricature.
And yeah, I live in the Arkansas, Missouri area, and so yeah, it was. I don't actually think it was a caricature. I just think it was a poor portrayal of, like, if we're gonna do super, like, remember Smallville? I'm never gonna get past the guy that they cast to be John Kent in Smallville.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
And he's like the guy who, like, helped you get your first job and will show you how to do stuff. And like this Superman movie that they just really, like, that doesn't seem like the kind of guy who, like, works hard and takes care of a farm. Seems like a guy who's just, like, still around for some reason.
Yeah.
Why am I talking about this?
Well, this is
we're talking about
so,
the portrayals.
Like, yeah. So so the reference that I have over here, it's the turnaround that you have. He has boots. So what are his feet like? Is it more like ninja things? It's more just like a red.
Yeah, I would go like ninja style, like soft sole boots.
Yeah.
Unless you're going for a modern superhero appearance, then I would.
No. I think I like the softer, the non superhero,
the kung fu style,
his, like almost a karate gi.
Yeah.
Is that me or you?
What?
There's a noise coming. Let me turn off.
What does the noise sound like?
It sounds like somebody's trying to Facebook message me. So.
Oh yeah, that was Facebook.
We're gonna take that annoying. We're just gonna close that down while we do this. But yeah,
Facebook eats a lot of bandwidth, even though it's just running in the background.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Mars is it in the story. He comes from kind of a portrayal of ancient China, even though it's like the future. It's a post-apocalyptic China, and there's a war, and he gets enlisted in the army of the Emperor's army. And so from that time, it's in the future, but according to these people, this would be almost ancient time. This is like more than 300 years ago. And so he comes from China. He has this old gi Chinese looking attire because it's supposed to represent ancient China, like traditional Chinese garb.
Okay.
I just took a lot of inspiration from like a kung fu uniform.
Yeah.
Or like a monk or something.
Sure.
And so I would imagine that throughout the years, he would have updated his clothing after a while. So it depends on the time period that I'm writing him. Like when he first comes to America, he's kind of dressed down, wearing more of a robe, a cloak or something. Like he's just a humble, like, wanderer walking through post-apocalyptic land, like the Book of Eli kind of stuff.
Okay.
But then as he starts to settle down in civilization and he can, like, keep some things at his house, then he has nicer clothes over time.
Okay. I'm trying to work on a fender here. Trying to work on using that.
I can see it kind of starting to take shape, so it's really cool to see in real time.
And I want to see if I can squeeze a person's face out here in the window.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So in this scene, he is. So in the story of Utopia, let me just go back. So the premise of the story of Utopia, Mars has been recruited by the government of the city of Cathedral, and Cathedral is a very affluent, pristine, perfect appearing town. It's Utopia. It's supposed to be like the nicest of all of the areas in the walled cities. And so in the story, you have like 3 cities that are within these massive walls. They all have distinct personalities, and Cathedral is basically the rich district, where I would imagine just the people that want to get away from city it's more authoritarian, it's more heavily guarded because that's where the rich people live. And so he kind of struggling with the idea of like, why do you guys want me here? There's basically no crime. And so they're recruiting him as a PR stunt. They're saying, we're the best city, we have the lowest crime, we have the most money, everything's beautiful here, and we have the most powerful superhero looking over us. You know, it's a self-celebratory kind of situation.
Yeah. So does
And
he
then,
feel like he could be more useful other places? Is that what you're trying to say? Like he's being wasted?
well, he does. He knows he could be more useful. He's actually been looking for a place to rest for a long time. So that's why he takes the position. He would rather not be fighting criminals because he's at a higher risk of killing people. And there are other heroes that do that. Mars's position is more like if monsters attack, which hasn't happened for a long time, so the people don't remember, but he's been there to defend the city from monsters when they were first getting established. So that's the role he actually plays in the universe. But in this story, he's trying to find out his place in the city because there isn't a lot of crime. And during that time, he finds a truck that is like the brakes kind of go out, a truck, and this is an opportunity for him to be able to show that he can do something other than just bust criminals' heads open, you know.
So does he ever have a belt? Can
Yeah.
I put like a martial arts kind of belt on him?
Yeah, I imagine like that martial arts sash kind of belt with a maybe a more leathery buckle around it.
A leathery buckle.
I think in the reference he has like a sash with a belt around it, like an actual buckled belt.
Okay. So you do want the buckle? You do picture a buckle?
I am a big fan of the buckle.
Like a regular buckle, or like a big cowboy
Texas buckle? Horns like sticking out of both sides. No, I'm joking. Yeah, just a regular indiscriminate buckle. Just
like I like buckles. Like if you see Alpha Red, if you look at Wingman, Zed Keel, all the characters that I design tend to have like your normal belt buckle, not like a Texas buckle, big old.
No, just like a round, superhero costume buckle.
Okay.
I imagine like Mars, if he's in his older garb, he would have like a leather strap tied around his waist, but not like hanging in the front like a karate uniform. More utilitarian. We talked about this earlier. I do subscribe to the idea that heroes should and probably would evolve over time, especially if they're older and if they've been around for a long time. And the example I used was every time a movie comes out, it has a different costume. Superman has a different costume, and maybe that's me being a product of my time. But like I change clothes every day. We have that joke where the cartoon character goes to the closet and he has 16 of the same outfit. And I was like, that just seems kind of silly. Like maybe you get tired of wearing the exact same thing the exact same way every day. Change it up a little bit. Yeah.
No, I dress mostly the same every day.
It's easier to draw, and I totally get that. But from a writing perspective, I'm trying to get into the mentality of somebody.
Yeah. Well, I just know for myself, it's just one less thing I have to think about. If I have a rotation, I just make sure that I rotate my clothes in a certain order, and that helps me wear clean clothes. That's all.
Or imagine your hero just got done fighting some like a bear or a huge kaiju or something, and he's just covered in blood and gore. You gotta change clothes. You're not gonna go put the same outfit on the next day. So like, let's put that off, and we're gonna have to clean that. I'll do it later. Change into my other costume, and then go finish fighting. That's what I would do.
I mean, that's probably smart. That's probably because you're married. Like my wife would make
Probably because
sure
I'm
that I had.
even when I was younger, when I was a musician and I had the superhero costume on stage, I had variations of the same costume because I mean, you do a show, your costume gets sweaty and nasty. You got to clean it. So if I have 2 shows back to back, I got to wear 2 different costumes. That's just my realistic. I think it's the speculative fiction writer in me is thinking like, if
Absolutely.
this were real, how would I approach it?
Absolutely. Like I'm starting to get there. Like for me, I have an evolution as to like what my priorities were when I started Alpha Red, and it was mostly just draw cool stuff, and it was fine for a while, but now I'm just finishing up issue number 8, and the character needs to evolve and grow, and so you start looking at stuff like that, like the more practical stuff, like what does he do in his off time, like what does he
I
enjoy, what doesn't
remember
he enjoy.
I remember watching Invincible and watching him get punched in the face, and then his goggles like broke, and his eye was like peeking through his goggles. And in the next episode, he had normal goggles, and I'm thinking like, how many pairs of goggles does this guy go through? Why does he wear goggles if every time he gets into a fight, he almost loses an eye? Like that seems impractical. But
Did you
suspended disbelief is necessary.
yeah, did you spend any more time looking up the Invincible versus video game after we
What?
talked? The Invincible versus,
I didn't actually. I got sucked into a completely different project.
yeah.
I was building an operating system for my son's gaming device that I ordered from eBay, and the guy sent it with no card, so I had to start from scratch.
Mm. That's like a
That's
foreign
my
language.
my actual hobby is tinkering with stuff until I break it or fix it, one of the two.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I do want to. I would look it up now, but I don't want to like slog the string here. It did
Yeah,
look pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I was impressed, and I'm not, like I said, I was not. I'm not a video game guy.
Little weird that. Did I lose you for?
I'm not a
Oh,
video
okay.
game guy.
Well, it's a little weird that we've come from like I feel like I blinked. We had the polygon Tekken type looking characters, and then I blinked, and now they look real, except like their eyes are a little bit off, and it's like it was too fast. It was,
Yeah.
like I barely had a time to adjust.
Yeah,
Now we have like skin pores, and it's just like, can we just go back a little bit to pixels or something? Like this is messing with me. And that Invincibles, it doesn't look real, but it's like hyper realistic, if that makes sense.
yeah. It
Like it's gonna pop
reminds
out of
me
the
of
screen,
like,
even though it looks like a cartoon.
yeah, it's almost like Street Fighter, but like a somewhere between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Yes.
I remember when Mortal Kombat first came out, and they were using like photo. It was like motion photo, whatever. They look like
I
real
did
people.
not like that. I'll be honest. I thought
Yeah.
it was very stiff.
But it was like groundbreaking. It was like so unlike everything else that you saw.
That's true.
And so I know my friends. I mean, I tried to play it, but I was never any good at video games. So that is one of the reasons why I'm not a video game guy. Because
I'm not a huge fan of photorealism in my fantasy because I feel like you need to be able to distort reality a little bit.
sure, I get that.
Like if you got a guy who's like, oh, okay, what's that? There's a game. Whenever you see like a Fallout or apocalyptic game, and then somebody's like, "Why is that guy so big? Where does he get the protein to keep his diet up?" And I'm like, whose argument is this? Where did this come from? It's a fantasy. I get it because I've been those rules, and I
Right.
ride the line, but I try to be reasonable with it.
Right. No, I think it's interesting when people consider those things in their comic, but it can't be like the main thing. Like I don't know if you watched the Flash movie, the last Flash movie with Ezra Miller. It was terrible.
Yeah, I passed on it, but I'm willing to listen.
Yeah, no, you did a good thing. Yeah, just watch the Batman part. That's worth it. The Michael Keaton '89 Batman. That was
I'm getting to where I only have so much resources of time and money, and it's like if I go to the movies for 3.5 hours, that's my whole day.
yeah. No, my little brother shares his password with me, and so I watched it on HBO Max or whatever the WB, DC, wherever their movies
Okay.
end up. So, and it was so bad, so bad. And I didn't even mind. I didn't mind the Supergirl, the race swap Supergirl, but she had a good character arc thing.
I don't mind that she was race swapped. I don't like angry. She reminded me of that one chick from Fast and Furious. You know, just
Yeah,
and every character
look like
from
her.
any video game in the last 6 years, like they just all have that same scowling face. Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But all right, so what do you think of the pose here? What do you think of
that's good. I like that. I like that.
in that?
That's more realistic. Like if you're gonna stop something heavy, you probably use the reverse approach.
Yeah,
That's how I push a car.
yeah. Well, I didn't want you to just like be looking at its back. You know, like it's just like less. I don't know. Like less comic booky. Like
Yeah.
it would probably be kind of realistic, but yeah.
I able to do that fast. Like this is not a skill I possess. I can imagine somebody's wardrobe and write about it, but I can't draw it.
Yeah.
So now we're and the grill in the truck actually like holds that aesthetic that we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm just using the Superman, the Action Comics picture as my reference. So I hope it I hope people
There's
can-
a lot of motion in that picture already, so you can feel the force.
Yeah.
So looking at the if we could talk about characters like power scaling and stuff for a little bit, I think your character Iron or Alpha Red is probably closer to Iron Knight in my story.
Okay. Yep.
When we were talking about like Homelander and stuff, one thing I was thinking about is like how they're destructive characters, but in my opinion, they're kind of precision destructive, if that makes sense.
You're gonna
Like there's a
what do you
scene where
mean?
Homelander goes to Africa and he like blows a hole through this guy with his laser vision. And so when I was creating, I was like, well, I can't give him laser vision because like every guy who's a Superman archetype has laser vision, and that's like way overdone.
Right.
And then I was gonna like have him have lightning come out of his eyes. I was like, nah, it's stupid. So I wanted to give a reason for his pacifism. And so basically the powers that he possesses are so overly destructive. That's part of the reason why he was trying not to use them around people.
Yeah.
You know, like he has a command over wind and lightning, which is not something that is a precision tool at all. Like you can't save people and sweep them away in a storm at the same time. Or he has something called the Doomsday Punch that that's his power move that I write into one of the stories, where he basically absorbs the life, because that was his main power in the beginning. He absorbs the life from all of the living creatures around, and he takes that as energy and concentrates it into an explosion. It's called the Doomsday Punch.
Oh wow.
It's like that type of fighting style is basically like you're a nuclear weapon at that point.
Yeah.
You can't be fighting around people because you're gonna destroy more people than you're gonna save.
Let's have
I just can't
a
imagine
long-
like controlling the fallout of having that immense of power. Even if you're just punching, the shockwaves are gonna hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah, see, like that, those are the kinds of things that I don't really think of. Like you punch, and like, where does that leave the story. Like,
Yeah.
how hard was the punch? To me, is determined by whether or not I need them to take another punch or die, or not die. Be
It's interesting, like
rendered.
if your character is a wrecking ball and you don't care about collateral damage, then you could
Yeah.
just go nuts and it's just fun. But like
Yeah.
if you're in the head of a hero who's trying to protect people, think about what sparked it for me was shooting guns with my wife. We do target practice like once a month,
Sure.
and more than once, she has hit me in the head with the shells.
Oh wow.
Not shooting at me, but when you shoot, the shells come out of the side of the gun,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not something I ever considered until we started shooting.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just come out of the gun in one direction. Like it can go anywhere really. Like so like every time I try to get out of the way, it's like the shells just follow me and they hit me. So it's like, okay, so even when you're not trying to hurt somebody, you can hurt them. And
Yeah.
that just kind of like sparked that idea for me.
Yeah. So how about a victim down here that he's saving?
That he's saving? I thought you was like a victim is running over.
No. Like
No,
he's stopping her. He's stopping the car just in time because he was about to. The driver here.
Yeah, I'm for it. I thought you were talking about balancing the scales, like save one, kill one.
No. And we'll do. Let's see what kind of. They used to have. Might have to look up a reference here of a 50s. What would people in the 50s wear? A woman in the 50s wear on her head.
Oh, they got that hat,
Yeah, I'm picturing like a small hat.
curly hair, probably like a curly bob.
50s style.
So going back to the collateral damage concept, in the Harbinger story, when the brothers are at war, every time they hit the battlefield, they destroy a lot of the enemies, but they also destroy some of their own men and hurt some of their own men because their power is so immense. So
Yeah.
the oldest brother, Li Zhang, he's, like I said, he's really, really big. He's like 7.5 feet tall, is a massive warhammer, and he hits the ground and it just shatters through the ranks of the enemy, but it also like hurts the guys behind him too if they're too close. And so they're trying to fight with him, but they also have to keep their distance, because if he ground and they lose their footing, then they'll get sucked into the earthquake.
Okay.
Or there's
Now,
another guy.
How do you
How
do you convey that with to the reader? How do you use dialogue? Or are you using the individual's thoughts as a writer? How do you?
I try not to write thoughts personally, just because I think that's better reserved for more intimate scenes.
Mhm.
I like to use descriptive terms. So with the same story, Tang Wei is the second eldest brother. He's invincible. They call him the Iron Belly, and the enemies are running at him with spears. So it says, they run at him with spears, but the men in the back are being protected. But one of the spears that was meant for the Iron Belly broke off and went and stabbed one of the other men. So they're trying to take shelter behind this massive guy who's invincible. But if they get too close, they can get hit by the shrapnel from the broken spears and weapons that are bouncing off of them. So when I tell it, I usually tell it in past tense, but I will show an incident happen. So the formula I use is imply, and then like you imply the overarching picture of what's going on, and then you show a single detail related implied. And then after that event happens, you need to leave time to reflect so that the reader can process it. So in that story, you have this big invincible guy running out on the battlefield. That's implied. And then the monsters stab him with spears, but that's still a pretty large description. But then when one of the spears bounces off of him and stabs the guy behind him, that's a personal situation. So now we need to spend some time in that man's suffering and show the fear behind the other guys, that they don't want to be the next guy to get struck.
Okay.
That's the process that I use when I'm writing like an action war scene, something like that. Because if it's constant action, you never get time to process.
Right. Right. I mean, I know how I have to kind of think it through with, I mean, I'm writing a comic, so I have visuals, and then I have the narrative balloon versus the thought balloon versus the dialogue balloon versus sound effect. You know, all those things are kind of woven around, depending on what I'm trying to tell the reader.
Yeah, I think that's probably a different process. So reading, one thing I've learned since I've been writing is, instead of doing comics, is that reading is a completely different medium that allows you to kind of freeze time and process all of the elements of what's going on before continue. Like, you can speed up and slow down time as you need with description. With a comic, you don't really get to do that. It's more like a series of photographs. So
Yeah.
in that respect, I would have guys charging at him. I would show some of the spears breaking. I would show some of the guys about to hit him with the spears. And then I would show a zoomed in panel of one of those broken spears going through the guy's shoulder. And I would show the guys behind them recoiling in fear. And then I would reverse perspective from those men to show the spear going through that guy that got hit. And they're whispering to each other. He kills as many people as he protects.
Yeah.
And the more personal I think you can show something, especially the reflection and the processing of that event, is what gives that the impact power. So, like in a fight, when somebody recoils from a hit and they show pain and they start to get tired, that shows that the fight is wearing them down. Otherwise, It's just punch, bounce, and nothing affects either character. But if the dude's like catching his breath and he's spitting blood, then you're like, okay, so he's actually like suffering in the middle of this fight.
Right. Okay.
Those are some of the concepts that I use when I'm trying to think about those things.
Yeah.
There's a real video drawn by, I think it's a Brazilian artist, and I don't know his name, but he does a fight scene between Colonel Guile from Street Fighter, the guy from that on that Captain America movie with the skull for a face, I don't remember his name, and Winter Soldier. So it's like Colonel Guile versus Winter Soldier is the first part of the fight, and then in the second part they bring this third guy in. And these guys are brawling and they're knocking each other through concrete walls and stuff, but they get so tired throughout the fight that you actually feel the pain of these blows, because he's operating on that same principle.
Right.
I think you can actually make a fight scene too brutal if you do that.
Are we ready for some inks? Or what do you have to, did you want anything switched up?
No, I think this is really cool.
Speak now.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I was waiting for it to like kind of clear up. It was like pixelated at first.
Okay.
Man, just right before my eyes. It's an amazing skill. It's amazing watching another artist of a different medium work.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching it and I did this last time. I don't understand it. I'm watching you do it and I'm like, how? It's like magic.
Yeah. Let me
I used to draw when I was in high school and it's just like it's gone. I don't even understand. Like
let me see. I'm trying to, here we go. I'm trying to get us off to the side so that you can see the girl down here in the, like she has fallen. She's fallen and she can't get up.
I think that adds stakes to the scene.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was doing, because like all that you wouldn't know that he was saving anything. He's just kind of picking the guy's car up. So
I will say, I wish we could see a little more of the guy's face
This guy up here, or this,
but
or his?
no, the driver. But
Okay.
he's such an awkward angle. He'd be hanging out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, we'll just have to ride with it.
yeah. Sometimes with a comic, you just have to like
And he's gone. That was so fast. I did not know you were gonna do that.
yeah. So like, I mean, all these things can he just reappears. He'll reappear right before your very eyes. But yeah, so like, you know,
Yeah, like
he's
the
running away with
horrific
2 hands up.
reflection in
He's
that
holding
guy's
his head.
face. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I love those types of reaction and reflection. It's that same principle.
Yeah.
Like, what have I done?
Yeah.
In real time.
Let's get his shoulder up here.
Yeah.
Slightly more realistic. Yeah, so when I think of comics and as I'm drawing, I always think like it's not always about what is completely realistic. I mean, there's a time and place for that kind of storytelling and scene, but like sometimes it's just best to get the action across or the emotion across.
Yeah.
And that's why I think cartoony works so well. Manga works so well because they capture the emotion rather than the actual like photorealistic. What would this?
Yeah, like we were saying, that's why I wasn't crazy about the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Or when things are just too realistic in video games.
Yeah.
Because the expression and the reflection is as important as the impact, in my opinion. And also, stuff needs to be fun. And if there's no expression, then you lose definition there.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go in and start throwing down.
That's a huge improvement, and that was just a little bit. It was like 30 seconds.
Yeah. So what else?
Yeah, one of the things I'm trying to get across with ours. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You can go ahead. I was just going to ask you a little bit more about the other things that you're working on, not just the Mars, like because you have where are you online? Where do people find more about Apocalyptiverse? Is it all Apocalyptiverse? Can they find out everything that you're doing by going to apolcalyptiverse.com?
Yeah, if you go to the apolcalyptiverse.com, in the bottom there's an email link, and that'll take you to our Substack. But honestly, I've taken more of a withdrawn stance in recent time because I put 2 books out, and I'm ready to kind of like rewrite and re-release them. Mm-hmm. And so if the less attention I'm drawing to those elements, the better.
Okay.
I'm going to add some bonus scenes. I'm going to kind of clean up some things that I'm real happy about when I released it the first time, and kind of make the 5 books gel together, because there are 5 books right now. They're not huge books, but
yeah. So
if you go to apocalyptiverse.com, I'm sorry?
You release them in print or just digitally?
Both.
Okay.
Shadow of the Night, Utopia, and City Voices I released the first year in print, but I didn't let anybody know I was working on them until they were done.
Right.
Which is, I think, the best method. Because the next year when I started working on SOS, putting those out every day or like 3 times a week. I started doing it on Substack, and then I started doing it on Royal Road. And I really quickly realized that there is a formula that appeals to that audience that consumes every day, and I was not writing to that formula, and I hadn't planned on it. So I honestly just prefer to just kind of withdraw until I have something to say at this point. That's more of what I'm taking.
Okay.
On Amazon, all City Voices, Utopia, Shadow of the Night are all available, and then the first comic book that leads into the series, that's available right now. So if you end up getting one of those books and this series blows up, then those are going to be like the first editions before it was good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not good now, but I got some plans to redo
remaster. I use
remaster.
the term remaster them.
Well, there's a scene specifically like in Shadow of the Night where Mars makes an appearance, and there's some things that I want to do with the dialogue that I didn't do the first time.
Sure.
You know, it's just going to be some little things that I'm going to tweak. So I think it will add to the story overall.
Yeah, I think with Alpha Red, I think this is the third time that I updated issue number 1.
And that's honestly, it's not just fine. I recommend it. You should be updating and maintaining and modernizing your books as time goes on. Otherwise, it's going to be an 80s book forever, or it's going to be a 90s book forever. And if the story is potentially timeless, why not update it?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily that. I mean, it was more like adding more foreshadowing for things that happen later on when I was putting my book together, Alpha Red. I had a couple of different lanes that I was exploring, and I was just having fun just drawing him, just doing stuff. And it wasn't until I started issue number 3 where I had to really pick a lane and go with it. So some of it felt a little fast and out of the blue. So I did go back and add some foreshadowing. That's what I
did. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, if you're an author or a comic writer or whatever, and you put a story out and you say, oh man, I could have transitioned into that scene a little better, and it's just like 200 words or something, like, just do it. Just put it in the updated version of your book, or do a re-release and stealth edit. I don't care, just do it. Like, it's your story. There's no rule that says once you put it out there it has to be that way forever. I mean, obviously they changed Demolition Man from Pizza Hut to Taco Bell or something, so like,
really,
so I can do it too. You know?
They did they really?
Yeah, I remember
Taco Bell, right?
It was Taco Bell, and they changed it to Pizza Hut.
No,
that's not even the same category of food.
How when did they do that? Because it was Taco Bell.
They stealth edited. I think it's a licensing thing, because if you rent that movie now, they go to Pizza Hut.
No.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
Then they call it the Mandela effect, and it's like, stop lying to me. You changed stuff.
It was absolutely Taco Bell.
It was. It and if you have that physical media, you'll be like, okay, because I remember it was a campaign, dude. Like, Taco Bell like put money into it, and they had that one scene where they zoom in on the guy's face. He's like, "We're going to Taco Bell," and they were so happy and proud of themselves. And then, like, now they're just not a part of the movie. I have no idea what happened.
Oh man, that's not right. No,
because I think the plot, there was a huge disaster and they were the only one that won. It was like a commercial war or something.
Yeah. No, I remember the scene, and I mean that was funny, and I guess it's believable enough. Who cares? It's a movie. You understood that there's product placement. There's they got to make money somewhere.
But the point I'm making is that yes, print is pretty expensive and it's pretty final. And with the tools that we have now, you can completely update a book and replace its circulation.
Yeah.
And so let's say you put a book out, and like going back to the other example I said, if it's like you put something out in the 90s, well then, now it's 2026, you need to update the cover, you need to update the blurb, you need to update you might need to take some scenes out or change some things because they're just not acceptable for a hero anymore. Like I don't want to have like a hero. Somebody said, because Iron Knight, Steve Gallagher is Irish, they were like suggesting that I put him in a bar. And I'm like, there's certain things you don't really want your heroes to do.
Yeah.
Like, not that I'm not against having a bar scene in a movie, but like, it's not Wolverine. This is my hero. I don't want to put him there.
Exactly.
But like back in the 90s, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It was just a grittier time.
But if it lives in the 90s, like if it's built around the 90s, if the president in your story is Ronald Reagan, all these things, like, do you go back and change it to Barack Obama? Obama,
That depends on your ideology, honestly. I'm more of a would it really happen kind of person. And I would like to remain true to the time. Like one of the most things I've ever seen in the literary world is they have started censoring books because our modern sensibilities can't handle the way that people talked 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Get over it. Yeah,
Exactly.
How else are we going to learn from our mistakes if we don't show that darkness?
Yeah. It robs us of the knowledge of how far we've come.
Yeah.
Like as if we're still stuck back in those times, those days.
And that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more like if it's again like a timeless story, this is today, and they do a very hyper extreme version in all the mainstream heroes anyway. They always update it, so now they're not talking on corded phones, now they have cell phones, and then between the years it changes from a flip phone to that square shaped iPhone. You have to modernize things.
Yeah,
otherwise it's like, why is that dude, what's wrong with this phone, why's got the curly thing coming out of it? Oh, because I wrote this in the 70s.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be locked into these old rules. Like another thing I was thinking about was, your average book is about 10,000 words. No. Wait, no, way more than 10, like 100,000, 70 to 100,000.
Okay.
I don't write that many words for my stories. Like I don't need to. I'm not. If it were a genre where I'm getting into the thoughts in somebody's head and we're just spending a lot of time in somebody's head, I can see doing that. But like. Yeah. Shadow of the Night is a pretty slow moving narrative in the beginning because we spend so much time in Silas's head and in Steve's head because they're having thoughts, and like that just slows the story down.
Right.
I got stuff to do, and like I don't have a whole lot of stuff to do. Like I want to tell one story. Like so I can do it in 30,000 words or 20,000 words and it's fine. And 100 pages later you're done, you're reading the book and you're like, oh, that was fun. Because I come from the comic book world where a co-worker of mine, he reads these tomes that are like as big as his hand. And I'm like, how? That's intimidating to me. I don't want to. And it's tiny print.
Yep.
That's not my, that's not the person I'm trying to attract. Not that there's anything wrong with that person, but I'm not providing that service. I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not going to.
Sometimes you want a foot-long hot dog, and sometimes you want a normal-size hot dog.
Yep. No, I would definitely not pick up that book.
But when I'm currently having the sketches made. The first artist that did this comic, Lilica, I hope I'm saying her name right. She is currently doing the sketches for chapter 3. So chapters 1 and 2 were in the first comic. Okay. And that's available on Amazon as well. The Last Day. And then The Last Day, part 1 is available on Amazon. But she's working on part 2 right now.
You mean this?
There it is. Yeah.
There it is. The Last Day.
And actually you have the original. There's a little glare up in the top corner, but if you can see that little X symbol, that was me not knowing what I was doing. and that was the symbol that I used when I was making music for the last 20 years.
Right.
So I'm still proud of that, but
Yeah.
the ones on Amazon say apolcalyptiverse. You're not going to have that symbol anymore. So the one you have is unique in that respect.
There you go. Collector's item, guys. Collector's item. So are there
Lilica
any
did a
more?
great job, though.
What's that? Are there any more
Lilica
copies
did a great job.
that have
She's
the zero for hire?
No, I won't be producing any more with that logo on it.
Gotcha.
And that's a good example of learning, like, maybe this isn't the way I want to go. I want to modernize what I'm doing here. I want to update it and just move forward with that update and that decision.
Yep.
Now I can see the hat. That makes sense. Lilica did a great job. She's doing the sketches. And then over the next couple weeks, she's going to be doing the final images for each page. I just decided to do all the sketches first.
Yeah.
That way we wouldn't have any ambiguity about where we were going. And
you mean
later in the year, she's going to.
Are you saying?
Huh?
When you saying sketch, are you talking about thumbnails for the comic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you call it? Thumbnails?
Yeah. We call it. Well, I call it thumbnails. So that
okay.
You
when I hear thumbnails, I'm thinking like a small, tiny picture.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's how I draw. I have. Let me see if I have anything close by. My thumbnails.
You do like a storyboard or something?
I have a thumbnail book. Actually, I'm thinking about just printing them up and selling them.
I'm gonna jump in the closet over here and grab the collector's edition, sketches and thumbnails in it, and then I will be right back. I'm gonna show you that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna show you my thumbnail book. This is for issue number 9. I just printed it up, and this is what I am going to. This is what I have been using since issue number 6, where I have it reminds me what I should be thinking of. The story primer right here. This is how I construct Alpha Red. Is in the inside front cover. There's a title, who it's created by, written by, pencils by, inks by, color edited, special thanks,
okay,
etc. And then I mean, this is a book that I just printed out and stapled together. But this is what will turn into the thumbnails, and I'll break out the panels. Like, I've already thought about like what page 1 of issue number 9 is going to be, and he's going to be down here.
So you're busting out some ancient wisdom right here, man. That's traditional art, right? Yeah. What you're showing. Yeah. I don't think digital artists do this.
They don't do some form of this. I would think that
they do a form of it, but you do a whole separate physical book. That's a step that digital artists don't do.
It doesn't have to be like super detailed. Just kind of like the kind of the idea of it. Like, he's standing down here, he's looking up at all these buildings, and then he comes in and he's got, I don't know, I haven't looked through some comics to kind of see what angles I want and things like that. So
yeah, we're talking about the same thing. This is what I got for.
Yeah, you're saying sketch, I'm saying thumbnail.
A couple pages.
Yeah, but let's see.
So yeah, I got a collector's edition of The Last Day, which I didn't put them all out. I usually only do them in live shows, and it's got the thumbnails and sketches in it, along with the finalized artwork. So you got the story twice.
Okay. So you have a live show? You do a live show at some point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, if I go to a farmer's market, I'll sell my books, or if I go to a book fair, I sell my books. It's just really a matter of finding out where they're going to be, and if I can set up a table for a decent price or for free, even better. That's even better.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a bit of a challenge, because you got to have a lot of stuff. You can't show up with a bunch of copies of one book. Like, you got to have a table. So
you got to have posters of Mars stopping a car.
that's why we're doing this. Stopping the truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
A Mars and an Iron Knight poster is going to be dope. I'd love to put Silas on a t-shirt somehow. Actually, I think this one would probably make a better t-shirt. I always say Silas instead of Ghostwire because I created the character before I named him. And so I called him Silas. And then in the book, I was like, hey, we got to give you a code name. Because the main character was like, hey, we can't be calling each other real names when we're out in the field. Like, that's not going to fly, man.
So they, I didn't think they went out together. Wasn't it Steve who stole the suit or something like that?
Yeah, I haven't done much origin story about Steve. I want to get into maybe some short stories or some memories or something. I do have an upcoming series planned for him, but I haven't started writing it yet, called Kokutetsuku. And it's the formative years of Iron Knight kind of blended in with modern missions. So it's kind of like as he's on a new mission, you get a glimpse of the past. It's something will remind him of like past trauma.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to detail a solo hero. I'm sure you get the struggle because you have to get into like thought bubbles and stuff.
Yeah, not too many thought bubbles. I just do like narrative balloons, like where it's obviously Alpha Red talking or whoever's talking. But I did stick in a thought balloon, a couple of thought balloons in issue number 8.
You've done a good job of placing other people around Alpha Red, so at least you can have some dialogue and some some exposition. Where in a story like what I'm planning for Iron Knight, that was the problem that they had with Batman comics, and so I'm aware of the challenge I'm up against. Is you have a solitude character kind of in his own head as he's going through missions. There's not going to be a whole lot of dialogue, so I think that's where flashbacks play a good role.
Yeah.
I have 2 stories planned out for that series. I better not go too deep into it, but one where he's trying to find out there's a drug going around and he's trying to figure out where the drug is coming from, and it's making people go after, like, it's turning people into killers, but then the killers are completely different people, but they keep going after the same, and he's trying to figure out why.
Oh.
And he narrows it down in the beginning of the story to this drug. And then the other story is there's a community watch that is killing the criminals because they want to keep the criminals out of their neighborhood, and the police are compliant with it. And so he's like put in this awkward situation to where he's actually trying to save criminals' lives, even though he wants to stop the crime, but he can't have the neighborhood watch just killing random criminals because they're, teenagers and people's sons. And it's like, they need to be brought to justice, but you can't be like chopping their heads and legs off and stuff.
Whoa. So that's what they're doing?
Yeah, I get we get into some pretty graphic stuff. When it's bad guys, I tend to allow them to take it way further because Iron Knight's kind of a violent hero. So it's like, if he's the good guy, so violent. So it's like the bad guys have to be more violent. He's definitely a moral ray archetype, where Mars is the opposite. He's trying not to hurt people.
So where do you get the inspiration for someone who's like Mars, where he's a pacifist? Is it just the opposite of Iron Knight, and you just kind of are thinking back and forth? or are you?
Did want to have that dynamic, but more so, everybody does evil Superman, right? And
Yeah.
that's boring. It's been done. We don't need another version of evil Superman. So when are we going to have good Superman? And I was looking at all these Superman figures, and they're not. They're slightly edgier. They're more violent. They're darker. They're more brutal. And nobody is trying to write a genuinely good guy. And then I thought about the repercussions of super strength itself. If you were super strong, you would constantly be restraining yourself. Because if you pick up a glass of water, it just shatter in your hands because you're super strong. Like, so that's already a factor of being powerful. And I just decided to start running with that concept. When I got into the ideology of pacifism, I was actually repelled by it, repulsed by it. That's the word I'm looking for. Because it's easily it easily reflects cowardice. And I didn't want the character to be a pacifist because he's a coward. Like, oh, what if I hurt somebody? You know, like cowards are the first to be judged in the book of Revelation. So I don't want to go down that road. So it's like, okay, if he's not a coward, then what's his reason for being a pacifist? And I thought, genuine care for humanity is the purest motive. The challenge is, how do I show that?
Right.
So that's what most of his story is, and is all the time, is like, he cares about people. He genuinely wants to help and not hurt people. But the challenge is, like, he could easily flip out and just vaporize somebody if he really wanted to. What's stopping him? And I think trying to communicate that what to the reader is the story.
Okay. That's good.
I don't know if you ever been in a fist fight or tempted to become violent, but like I've been in some situations where like somebody is trying to taunt me and like, come on, man. It's just like, this is completely inappropriate. Like, and I know I could take the guy, but it's just, no, I don't want to do this. Like, just stop.
Yeah. I've been in a few.
Or if you've ever had to use minimal force, that's even harder, because it's easier to just walk away and have people think you're just scared and just say whatever. But like, you have to use enough force to stop somebody, but not enough to hurt them. That's incredibly hard. Like, I worked at a nightclub, and there's been a couple of times where you have to throw somebody out. You can't just break people's hands and stuff. Like, you have to be careful and violent at the same time. That's not easy to do.
When I used to sneak into clubs before I was saved, the bouncers, they got off on beating up on people. They would throw guys down the steps like a whole flight of steps, head first. And man, we were friends with the bouncers, so they wouldn't do that to us. But holy smokes!
I remember I punched a guy, and I shouldn't have. Yeah, I did. But okay, so let me start over. This guy was messing with me, and I need to be careful about what I say about this story. But we'll say he physically violated me in a way that I reflexively punched him as hard as I could.
Oh.
But the guy was like 2 or 3 times bigger than me. And so like I punched him, and then I was immediately like, uh-oh. But before the guy could beat me up, one of the security guards like wrapped his arms around him and physically picked the guy up and just carried him out of the clubs. Like that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It was like minimum force.
Yeah. No, I got beat up a couple of times in grade school, and when I was in my early 20s, we would inevitably find ourselves in bad spots.
Yeah.
Lots of drinking, lots of just bad ideas. Those things would not happen to me nowadays because I'm at home, hanging out with my family.
I would encourage every Christian writer, comic book creator, storyteller, whatever, that's listening to this to seriously think about the good guy. being the good guy, you know, because like we got all these guys that they're running around with flaming swords and stuff, and that's cool. I ain't got no problems with that. I think that's cool. I do some of the same stuff, but at some point, like we have to tell the story of the guy who's strong enough to break his enemies and chooses not to, and it's not because he's scared or whatever. Like he has to, like, what is, because I don't think that the world understands that level of compassion. It's like you're out here trying to rob banks, and you could just snap this dude in half, but you know, but you choose not to.
That's the definition of meekness. You know, everybody messes up the word meek, and they conflate it with humble or weak. But meek is being able to smash someone, but not doing it.
That's what I'm trying to convey with Mars. Oh man, there's a scene in Utopia that if you play chess, I think you'd really appreciate. I was friends with Bryson Gray, and he wrote a song with chess moves in it. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, I want to do that too. And I don't know if I wrote my scene before he did it, but I remember that stood out to me. But it's very similar. And in the story, Mars is playing chess against one of the bad guys, and the game of chess is the fight in that scene. And if you understand chess and you understand the dialogue, that what they're saying, it all, you know. And she's basically saying like, I can do whatever I want, and she's just brazen about it. And he's has to be restrained, but it's also reflected in the moves that they're making on the board. That's my absolute favorite scene.
That's cool.
I like how he bends the bumper of the car like it's a towel.
He's got to be holding on to something to kind of stop it, you know?
Yep. But yeah, another thing, just in the realm of story, right? Just the motivations is a really big deal for me.
Sure.
Because early on it was just like, hey, what if he did this thing and it was cool? And eventually I was like, what's the motivation? Why is he doing that? That became more challenging.
Sure.
And so now I have long planning sessions where I go through all the possibilities before I even, you know, I don't want to say put pen to paper because I don't write, I type, but before I stroke a key or anything, like I want to war game these ideas out. Sometimes I will I have like a character sheet. Do you do dossiers for your characters?
I don't. I try to. It's just another layer of something that I have to do that prevents me from doing the thing that I want to do.
Okay, that's more of a writer's tool, so I get it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to write things into their dossier so I don't forget this element of their personality or motivation or whatever.
Yes.
And that's a really effective tool because you can look at it right there on the page and you can say, oh, that's why he's like that.
Yeah. The thing that Marvel and DC don't do anymore.
No?
They just do whatever they want.
I thought that's what trading cards were basically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. They do like Wikipedia entries, but they're like the most boring information. It's like blood type and how many fillings does he have? Like, what?
How many fillings he has. Nice.
Marvel and DC have so many characters that actually I'm writing, I have to go to their websites and make sure that what I'm going to name my character isn't already a Marvel or DC character.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I had to give up on some really cool names.
I don't think that you need to. I think there's so many characters that have the same name. I don't know how you get away with it. I don't know if they would come after you. If it was someone with the same name and the same powers and the same, you know, a lot of this and the same look, I think that's where you kind of get into trouble. But like a name like Mars, like if DC had a character named Mars who was, I don't know, like a gun.
This is a really touchy area in creativity because IP really isn't a thing.
Yeah.
We do have some laws that are so vague that we need lawyers to explain them to us.
Mm-hmm.
But functionally, a powerful entity can just keep you held up in court forever.
Yep. Yep.
It's a war of attrition. They'll just throw money at you and you'll never get your way. And it just costs too much to defend yourself.
Yep.
But if you can legally prove that you created something, I mean, they can't just take it away from you, but they can definitely rip you off and do something similar. Mm-hmm. You just have to win that war of popularity and do the thing better. And I'm really uncomfortable with that, but I just don't see a way around it.
Right.
Like, how do you handle copyright stuff?
I just put it in my indicia. I know there's a more technical thing that you're supposed to do with it, but because you can have anything printed anywhere now, and you can have something that says that you copyrighted, but you did not go through any of the legal things to do it. I am curious about that, but I do just put copyright, the year, and then my name, my address, that kind of stuff into the indicia of my comic book.
As I understand it, the act of publishing is enough credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And
but is printing it out on your printer considered publishing? That's the
no. I think it's more like printing through a third party where you don't necessarily control the terms. So like some people will mail things to themselves and never open it. That's like a one-time thing that only works. Publishing online on a third-party platform where that timestamp is out of your control, that's acceptable to a degree. I don't know how far that goes, so don't take me up for legal advice, but that's what I've been told. That's how I understand it. And so, as I understand, it's just if you have enough data points on platforms that you don't control and on things that other people can validate for you, then that at least shows, because they're not going to be able to show that they came up with this idea in the 70s because they don't have anything from the 70s to show it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like the reason I say like IP is not really a thing because there are patents that you can hold legally and things like that. But like we've learned through history that, history is written by the victors, and there are people who have invented things and have, created patents for things, but they didn't really go through with the inventing process and stuff. And they will never really truly be credited for the work that they created. Like we say, what is it? Who created the light bulb? Edison?
Thomas Edison.
But he didn't. He got the idea from somebody else, and it had been proven to be be workable. And so he knew it would work, which is part of the motivation to continue through the process. Like we always say, well, Thomas Edison tried 1,000 times. Yeah, because he knew it was possible. He just hadn't figured it out yet. So it's not really motivational for me, but the person who actually invented it will never get the credit. Or the Wright brothers, we credit them for inventing airplanes when the patent was held by somebody else a long time ago, or long before that.
Yep.
I think it was actually a black man that teach that in Black History Month. They don't do that kind of stuff anymore.
They don't do Black History Month. Somebody does Black History Month. I'm sure.
No, they don't teach about historical figures in Black History Month anymore. They just throw bricks through windows and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I don't know. I came from a different time where we used to value education and virtue and actually like accomplishments and stuff. And now everybody it's a different world we live in, man. Well, but the point that I was making is I don't have a lot of faith in the copyright system the more that I learn about it. I think it's just more of the powerful. It's not that might makes right, it's that might makes, if that works.
They can just outlast you.
Yeah. So you either
Legally.
lose the war of attrition, or they just get you some other way. And
Yeah.
I appeal to heaven. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Please God, don't let
That's what
people
we
rip me
ask
off
for.
and steal my hard-earned work.
The I don't know if you've ever heard of the Christian comic book Archangels. Have you ever heard of?
No,
Have you ever heard of that?
no. I think I heard you
So-
talk about it like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So this is issue number 4, but this was a Christian comic published in the late 90s.
That is very
Yeah.
90s artwork.
Yeah.
I could
People
tell the
have-
moment you opened it. 90s.
Yep. But anyways, focus on the family.
Beautiful coloring.
Yeah. Focus on
You
the
said what?
family. Focus on the family. Originally gave the creators the money to start it, and then as they were creating it, more and more people had their hands in the like
pot.
taking ownership of it, and so they eventually then like sold it over to somebody who was promising to print it. Some angel investor came in and said, I'll set you up with as much money as you need to make this Christian comic. And when it wasn't going their way, they pulled out or whatever, and so it ended. And Focus on the Family pulled out also. It was a little too superhero for them. It was a little bit too mature for them. It was more PG-13 than PG or G, and so they backed out. But right now, there's somebody who's friendly with the creators, who owns the rights to it. So I said, I'd be interested in using the characters in my comics if you guys let me. And he said, don't do it, because the angel investor from the beginning, he would then rear his head. He's got a lot of money, and he would start suing you for using the character. Because
that's why you don't. There's no such thing as a free lunch, man. It's the first rule of economics. Somebody
That's what
shows
he
up
said.
waving money at you, you can just expect to lose your property.
Yep. So he said, don't chase that venture capitalist money.
Yeah, I mean, unless that's your goal, is to create something and then sell it and then just like lose control, because that's what's gonna like Eastman and Laird. They're the model, right? Like that's what we all dream of.
Mhm. Yep.
Or who's the other guy? Crap. The thought came in and left immediately. There was another creator who created something and sold it, and
Something that big.
no, Lucas. He kept the merchandising rights.
Yeah.
George Lucas. Like
Yep.
that's I feel like they didn't pull the ladder up behind them, but it's kind of like they found a loophole in the system, and then the system very quickly self-corrected after they did that.
But I thought
We can't be letting you do that again.
I thought Lucas still owned it. Like, did he get the rights back? Is that how?
I don't know
sold
the
it?
full history. I just know that when he originally worked with
The studio.
whoever it was for Star Wars, he kept the merchandising rights.
Yeah.
No, not the studio. He did, so that he would make the money off of those toys and stuff.
Right. But how did he?
No, the whole thing was like focus on the family and like those types of entities is like, this is why I struggle to say like, this is a Christian comic or I'm a Christian comic creator, because like, I'm pretty sure we all know that if the Book of Job came out today, they would not be able to find publishing with a Christian, publishing house.
Why is
If
that?
the Book of Ezekiel came out, it would not be able to get picked up by a Christian because it's just too real, too raw. Like they don't want that type of storytelling in their properties or brands or whatever. But like
Right.
when I base everything that I write off of the Book of Job. in
Oh,
tone, in delivery.
really? Okay.
And
I
I
didn't.
don't know if you've ever read it through all the way. It's a tough read because
No,
it's poetry, and I struggle with poetry.
I've read the Bible. I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Working through it again. I'm in Isaiah,
I
the
do
book of
better
Isaiah.
with, the instructional parts, the narrative parts. When they start talking about mountains melting in apocalyptic language, that's where I tend to struggle.
Yeah.
But in Job, at the end, God shows up and he's like, "You wasn't here when I laid the foundations. You ain't fresh as I is." And he just like puts everybody in their place. And it's
Hmm.
beautiful because he doesn't bother to explain himself because he doesn't have to. He's God.
Right.
He doesn't have to give you a reason. And
Hmm.
like that is the most like freeing element of storytelling is like stuff happens sometimes. I don't have to make a moral doctrinal statement about everything that happens. Just
Right.
follow the story and enjoy it or don't enjoy it. Like I'm not here to validate your brand of Christianity.
Right.
Like if my loyalty to Christ isn't enough for you, then don't read my book. I don't know what to tell you, man. And so that whole like industry, it just bothers me. So the closest thing that I've found is I guess there's like shorthand for the phrase speculative fiction, and a lot of Christian authors have kind of occupied that space to say like I'm just writing stories that fit within a Christian worldview or a biblical worldview, and yeah, stuff happens. But it's like if you read the Bible, stuff happens in the Bible too, like some pretty harrowing things, and it's not like we're glorifying that stuff. It's just you can't tell a story about superheroes and there's no real danger. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like Dragon. What's it called? Dragon Veil. What's the name of that newest Dragon Veil game where everybody is just like all hunky dory and it all works out? It's like a super optimistic version of a fantasy game.
No, I'm not familiar.
Now it's gonna drive me crazy. It's Dragon Veil something. Baldur's Gate.
What is
Baldur's
it?
Gate 3. That's what it was.
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, so Baldur's Gate is like this fantasy, like high fantasy swords and sorcery kind of. It's known for having good storytelling, good dialogue, good choices, and it's just a beloved franchise. And then the latest iteration of it is just basically like, what if the characters talked like modern people and everything just worked out because it did? It's just a very optimistic take. I don't know if they did that intentionally, if it's just bad writing, but I didn't think it was appropriate. A lot of other people didn't feel like it was appropriate, but I don't play high fantasy games either. So I kind of have to go by like clips that I've seen, and you can watch the cutscenes from it.
Okay.
And just kind of piece together what the story. Like sometimes if I don't want to commit to a game, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Why was I attacking Baldur's Gate? Jeez. Because if you say something is Christian, then that's what people expect. It's just going to be like this highly optimistic, sanitized version of the thing you actually want.
Yeah.
It's like banana flavored candy. Like it doesn't actually taste like bananas. And I'm really trying to avoid that. But I also like, I don't want to tell a nihilistic story where everybody dies. That's just that's not there.
Right. There's definitely something in between, and I think that's kind of where I want to fit, more so on the cleaner side, just for the sake of the kids having something to be able to read, something parents can give to their kids and not be scared, like Disney.
But there's even a difference between rated G and Christian entertainment, and that's hard to accept. Like rated G and Christian, like there's still a chasm there, and it's just like I don't understand how we ended up like this. We should have the most reality. Like Alpha Red doesn't come across as sanitized. It's a superhero story.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like trying to guard you from the fact that it's a superhero story. Like just have adventures. That's fine.
Right. I'm just telling people there's no cursing in there, and there's no sexual immorality. Good guys look like good
it doesn't
guys.
need to be there.
There's no subversion of good and heroes. No subversion of the hero. Like the hero is flawed. He's not perfect, but he's also not evil in the like. He's not like intentionally evil. You know, there's no need for that. There's enough of that.
That would hurt the brand. That's what I'm saying. Like Iron Knight's a violent criminal, but I'm not gonna draw him in a bar getting wasted because that's not the message I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I mean, when I look at like the Book of Judges and the violence there, I don't necessarily see a justification of like for me to be violent or for my characters to be violent because there's violence in the Book of Judges. It's just they were in a bad situation. They were at war. Bad things happen during war.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I approach the subject matter, you know?
Yep.
In the SOS storyline, I have a character who's kind of an edgelord. He's trying to be a villain, and so I put the posting up on Substack, I think, because it's going to be connected to his character card. But his name is Void 2, and so basically, like, he's a copycat of a villain named Void, who's been locked away in prison. And so he runs around calling himself Void 2. And every time people find out that's his name, they're just disgusted with him because in this world, he's like a cataclysmic character figure. Like that'd be like calling yourself Hitler 2. You know,
Judas.
Like, this dude destroyed cities and you're walking around calling yourself the same guy. Like, but you can tell that kind of stuff through.
Yeah, no, I think there's
roll around in the gore rim.
Sure, I think there's just a tasteful way to kind of do a lot of this stuff, and I think we've lost the I don't want to say classy, but like tasteful, I guess is the best description of it. I was watching one of the first Jason Bourne movie. I don't know if you're a fan of the Jason Bourne movies.
I've always intended to watch them and I just never got around to it. And I'm not just saying that. I'm dead serious when I say that.
They're one of my favorites, just because they're smart and they're lots of action, and you know he's like almost like a James Bond. I don't know.
It's like he kind of popularized the shaky cam fighting.
Yeah. There's all that, you know, like there's enough of that. I don't mind that. I don't know if you were saying that you don't like that, but there's some of that. But anyway, there's a love interest in there, and they spend like most of the movie kind of like with that tension, with that love tension.
Googly eyes at each other.
Yeah, like can I trust them? They're kind of attractive. I don't think either one of them are attractive. I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think that Matt Damon is a very attractive guy, and the girl in there. She's a little mid, you know.
I agree.
But the people they're supposed to be the good-looking people, and they're supposed to get together. And then when they find themselves in a moment where they're gonna get together, and they get real close, and I told my son to close his eyes, and then they cut it. Like they never even kiss. And then the next scene is him like waking up because he has these headaches that come because he was part of a government program and they reprogrammed him, and then he doesn't remember, and so he's got these headaches that keep him up at night. He has these dreams and stuff, and so he wakes up, you know, and clearly they did the deed, you know, but they didn't spend 5 minutes of the movie sucking face and
yeah, because I didn't show up for that.
Yeah, so that's what I mean when I say classy, you know, they're just a little bit.
This
classy.
Isn't an objection. This is real-time inspiration.
Yeah.
Mars is going to have to pay for that hole in the street. So expect in the updated version, because the city, the police chief gives him a hard time through the entire book. He's going to give him a bill for that hole in the street. He's like, but I saved the truck. But you put a hole in the street. You think the streets are free? Like, yeah, the police
All
chief
right.
is really hard on Mars.
Yeah. So I don't want to keep you. I am. I'm fading fast. I'm feeling like it's like
Oh
for
wow,
a
we're
draw
here in an
stream.
hour.
For a draw stream, I kind of close down. I become Joe Biden. I'm looking for my ice cream, and it's like it's sundowner time, and I don't want to take away from the work that I'm doing here. So we don't have to do a part two. I can finish this up, and then we can start posting all the stuff. But I definitely want to give it the right amount of energy and thought process. So
Yeah,
if you
this is
don't
beautiful,
mind,
man. I
we're
love
gonna
this.
we're gonna call it quits on the live stream, and then I'll chat with you a little bit on the other side here, and then I'm just gonna sit, gonna sit and think about sleeping and not go to sleep quite yet because I'll wake up too early. But
Yeah, let's not
if you don't
sundown on
mind,
camp.
yeah. So
Well, peace, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
It's been real. I do need
right.
to eat.
Yeah. So you know what? I'll let you go, and then I'm just gonna play the ending, and then I'll talk to you on the phone or whatever else. All right. Sound good?
All right, that sounds good, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time, grace and peace. We are out.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor and a fire in his soul. Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, with strength from above, he battles the darkness with unyielding love. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Alpha Red. When the night seems too long and hope seems so far, look to the skies, we'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble, but never forget, the world is protected by our hero, Alpha Red. Alpha Red.